All right, I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, folks, I'm going to be reviewing The Fall of Babel, book number four in Josiah Bancroft's The Books of Babel series. I've got the other books right here. Book number 1, Senlin Descends. 2, Arms of the Sphinx. 3, The Hod King. I have left reviews of each of these books up on my channel elsewhere. Just type in my name and the title of the book. The review will magically appear upon your YouTube screen, and you can watch that video there. Now I am to book number 4, which this is Sunday night. This book hasn't even come out yet. It doesn't come out till Tuesday in America. And but the Barnes & Noble down the street from me, I was in there about 3 days ago. They had a copy out on the shelf early. I got it. I read it. Now I can review it because now I've read the whole series. And I'm telling you, man, this series is dynamite from start to finish. Let's get into it. Let's get to the review. So, the covers. Let's talk about the covers. All the covers, when you put them together, they look super fly on the shelf. They all look great. The cover artist for each one was a friend of Josiah Bancroft's named Ian Leno. I don't know if that's how you pronounce the name, but he did the cover for each one of these. And Orbit Books did a great job of making them just look sharp. Each one of the spines, when you put the books together, the spines all look fantastic. And as you can see, Orbit Books, once again, unlike most book publishers, Orbit Books went ahead and put 1, 2, 3, 4. It's an ingenious idea, so you know what book it is on the shelf just by the number right there. I wish every publisher did that. So far, I've only seen it with Orbit Books. But let's talk about the Hod King. The Hod King. One of my favorite quotes out of this book can be found on page 169. And I just loved this page. No, it wasn't 169. It was page 100, actually. Page 100 exactly. The quote is, and this is for everyday life, people. These are the kind of quotes I love out of a book. Men who brag about how they would have risen to the occasion amid some unattended crisis are pigeon-livered liars. We've all met that person. So there's some crisis, they weren't part of it or nothing, but they can certainly Monday morning quarterback the shit out of that crisis. Hate those people. There's nothing more flattering to one's ego, nor more insulting to a survivor, than armchair courage and the valor of the parlor. What's the valor of the parlor? Well, it's when you're in the parlor talking about your bullshit adventures, and then you weren't part of some adventure that went haywire, went ass over teapot, and then you're like, well, if I was there, this is what I would have done, and everything would have turned out great, and I would have been the hero. There's kind of a theme running through this book that's kind of like, and the whole series, that's sort of, I get where he's going with this. So, what is this series about? The Books of Babel. Like I said, go ahead and watch the other 3 reviews. It's basically a tower, a big, huge tower has been built that people go to for vacation, and the tower is massive. The circumference of the tower at the base is as wide as a city, and it rises up into the sky to Lord knows how high. And each level, there's a different theme to each level. Like there's the silk level, the marble level, the steampunk level, the medieval level, the caverns, the dungeon level. I mean, that's kind of what it is. What's cool about this book, which is not in any of the other books, is there is actually a list of all the ringdoms. They're called ringdoms, not kingdoms. Each level is a ringdom. And there's a list of all of them, and it's pages long, because like we learned in books 1, 2, 3, we don't know how tall this thing is, but there's a list of all the levels and what they represent in the back. And I didn't notice that until I was sort of about a third of the way through this, and then It's that list is not found in books 1, 2, and 3 because we want to have books 1, 2, and 3 be a little bit mysterious about what's up at the top of this thing. But now that we're to book 4, we can sort of give away what's on top of this thing because right early in the very first chapters, we are set at the top of this thing, at the very top, with a character named Adam. And if you followed the series, you know that Adam is very important to the series. So we get about the first 169 pages are just about Adam and him at the top of this tower. Sort of once he's there and he's got a little bit of fame to him and he's trying to figure out his fame and why he's famous, kind of like but he's at the same time, he's sort of learning the history and some dark secrets about this tower and the construction of the tower and things that have been built into the tower that not a lot of people know about and things that I won't go into because they're important to the plot. So we get the first 169 pages are just about that, which takes us to about this far in the book. So, a little disappointing not to get the perspective of any of the other characters until 170 pages in. But once the other characters show up, then the book starts to sing. It really takes flight. It's almost like this series as a whole, and including this book, it's just like a vast, never-ending clockwork funhouse of Baroque ideas and bizarre things and steampunk oddities on every level of this tower. And it's almost Gene Wolfe-like in its writing and in its insane expectations and unexpected world building, where you feel like you're halfway lost all the time once you're in this tower. And I think that you're supposed to be. I think you're supposed to be unbalanced throughout, and you really are throughout all 3 of these books, but most importantly in book 4, you just feel like you're unbalanced, like you don't know exactly where you are all the time and what is exactly going on around you. And that is why the tower and the mystery of the tower is so magical and so magical. What is going on in some of the other characters, because the other characters are like, there's a siege engine which is sort of burrowing through the tower. There's Senlin, who is our main character from the other books. Senlin's main plot was in book 1, him and his wife go to visit the tower on their vacation, and his wife gets lost in the tower, and he's got to find her, and that takes the bulk of books 1, 2, and almost halfway through book 3 before he actually finds her. And then once he finds her, I kind of spoiled a few things here, but once he finds her, then the interactions between Senlin and his lost wife, Maria, are my favorite parts of the whole story because, just because you find a lost wife doesn't mean things are all going to be hunky-dory in marriage land. I'm just saying. Oh, and then there's people trying to sabotage the tower. Senlin himself is trying to sabotage the Hod King. And then there's the pirate ship with Edith. And I think the pirate ship's called the State of the Art or something like that. And then those characters are doing their little adventures and mysteries. And I loved everything about it. It's got a smash 'em up, bang 'em up ending that I really quite enjoyed. However, I'm going to say, I think I enjoyed the first book the most. I can't remember how I rated these, but it's been pretty consistent throughout, and just the whole story in and of itself is so fucking unique and so unlike anything else you've ever read that they just belong in every book collector's book collection. Because I've rated all of these super high, and I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10 also, because I just think it's that good. And it's a great ending, and it leaves itself open for possible other adventures to take place in this world, of course. We've got, well, I don't want to even spoil that. I don't want to say that if there's any kids are not involved, or any bastard children, or maybe legitimate children. We don't know. We don't know. It's all a mystery still. But I loved the Fall of Babel. I loved learning more about the history and the history of the construction of the tower itself, which was probably some of the coolest things, because through the first 3 books, a lot of this stuff, you're just like, why is this tower standing out there in the middle of nowhere? And why is it so huge? Why do so many people live there? And why is it so damn quirky and evil and twisted? Like I said, it is like a never-ending clockwork funhouse of bizarre ideas and oddities and steampunk trickery. That's all I can say about it. But I loved every minute of it. Everybody should go get these books.